I know what you're looking at, and no, I'm not planning on getting rid of this until the start of the new year because it will be fresh, fresh new chances, fresh new opportunities. Same word as chances, but said in a more smart way and thus more convincing for you while you're watching. So anyways, the point of this video, and I'm not gonna go on too long about it, is for me to review the biggest lessons I learned so far in this space that I think set us on a course for monumental profits, but most importantly, client value. And for starters, let's begin with the AI automation niche. Now, the important thing to remember, of course, is that the larger the company, the less likely they are to need you. The less people in the company, the more likely they are to need you. And so in this case, if you're thinking of contacting larger enterprises or any franchisee and you don't really have an internal contact from some gala event you went to where James Bond was murdered, then there's really no point for you trying to reach out. They have their own IT department, and IT people commonly, believe it or not, like to be in control of what they're creating. I mean, it's the one thing that gives programmers meaning is to be in control of their own creation. And they very much do not like a third party coming in and messing around with all the security protocols and whatnot. Blah, 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 programming jabber. Regardless, the point is that these companies are very, very unlikely to need your help. The companies that will need your help are smaller, firm sized agencies. I'm talking 5 to 30 people. Now, is the contract going to be major? I don't know. It depends on their margin. If they get a lot of lifetime value and the cost to acquire a customer plus the payoff from that customer is decent, working with a good ratio, then it's very, very likely that you'll be able to charge higher prices. So the kinds of companies I'm talking about are insurance groups, big teams, law firms, not necessarily a big IT department, social media marketing agencies, lots of departments, and a lot of need to keep all of their client info organized in one way. They'll use AI to also make sure that the copywriting of the copy that the AI produces or that they use the AI to help them produce actually sounds like the clients that they're the clients that they are working with. Next, you've got private equity, any finance firm really. You're expecting around 50 people, and although it's not a lot of people, they do have a use for AI tools if they are private and in-house, which means a GPU cluster and local hosting, which is pretty simple to set up and very, very secure. Japanese stamp of approval. Regardless, this is a major factor to keep in mind. Never present yourself bigger than you are when it comes to technical ability, because it'll come around to bite you. It really is not great when a client expects you to put in this amazing Iron Man Jarvis level solution and you're vibe coding the whole thing. Just don't do that. Stick to what you know how to do. Do your research beforehand, whether that's a company that can potentially gather the resources to sue you. Just don't do anything stupid. You're a businessman at the end of the day. Your reputation and your ability to generate people money is what matters most. But the reputation you set for yourself, well, with that, you can do whatever you want. Because I promise you, people are not happy with what Elon Musk says on Twitter, but he's Elon. And they still buy Tesla stock, and it's still overvalued, and nobody cares. They're gonna keep buying. It's just how it is. So regardless, you want to work with SMBs. And let's say you do pick up an enterprise client. I'm talking 50 plus people, something like in the resources area, let's say tertiary sector. They got a lot of documents and contracts they need to sign and deliver and generate and all that. And it takes time. It takes time to get them approved, to get them appealed. They need to watch that document go through every stage of the process before their delivery or shipment is approved and all that. Well, if you place employee training as your main offer, you come to that business and you say, "Hey, I know you guys deal with a lot of documentation relay. So how about I come in every single week and we do an online session with all I come in and I do an online session. So I do an online session with all of your employees and I show them exactly how to use these AI tools that's safe in regards to your data and also the most optimal in regards to the output they're getting out of it. Which really just means that you come in and you show them the newest trends and newest things that are set when it comes to AI tools. Now, is this going to stick around for a while? Probably not, because you're going to have AI tools that train AI employees on how to use them. That's pretty much the future we're headed for. And if you're thinking about a potentially good VC backed startup, I would probably start that. Literally create an AI tool that teaches people how to use other AI tools. The closest when it comes to AI replacing all jobs, but we're not that far off either. We are at a point though where monopolist level companies like Google, Amazon, Apple, Apple and AI. Never mind. Forget I said Apple. Google, Amazon, X, AI, and Anthropic, OpenAI, they have such a control over the market that for them, they can just look at a venture capital backed startup and they just take whatever feature they're trying to sell, that's a B2B SaaS, and integrate it into their platform, effectively making that business pretty useless. But you see, these VCs, they know that very well, but they're hoping that the outbound capabilities of their salespeople will be able to spread the word about all these startups before anybody catches on about OpenAI. Well, when you have the market capitalization that OpenAI and Anthropic have, that's really not a possibility I'd try to hang on to for very long. But they're doing it anyway. You know, who am I to say at the end of the day? I'm not a venture capital firm. But it does seem like they're running out of things to invest in. I mean, there's only so many patents that can be set in nowadays that, other major firms haven't already acquired. And of course, everybody wants to be early in the company, when it just starts, when the stock is worth less than $1. But we don't got a lot of those options. And not a lot of great companies are going public now, I gotta be honest. Well, until OpenAI and until SpaceX goes public, which I think everyone should look forward to. But that is aside the point. The point I'm trying to make is very soon, any kind of service you want to offer with AI agency won't matter. So don't buy any courses from people. If you do buy something, buy a community access to someone. Like, get access to their knowledge. Because I promise you, it's the people that have been in the business very long that are in touch with all these companies. And it's going to take a while. Like, you know how they say the US is 5 years ahead of Europe? Well, if you're in Europe, you're in luck. Because if you bring about, when it comes to social media, when it comes to AI, if you take all the trends that are right now hitting their largest point in the US, you'll realize how much easier it is to integrate that over in the EU or a little bit outside of it, maybe in Asia. Okay, China is also extremely far ahead, but they're ahead in an industrial sense, perhaps not in the same like business communication sense when it comes to international relations and exports, imports. I mean, that they know very much of, but I'm talking about information importing and exporting, if that's even a term. It is now. The important thing is that you don't rely on current information staying current for very long, because it won't. Because things are changing at such a pace, so actively, that with the release of any new model or the release of any new VC backed startup, this fear of, oh no, my agency is obsolete, is just going to come at you. And it shouldn't. You should not be scared, because the amount of businesses that are still in Stone Age status is incredible. Like, yes, they use ChatGPT, but you should only really be worried when it's my generation or the generation younger than that that starts coming into the workforce, which is right about now. But even us, as we're coming into the workforce, and I know a lot of people that are working for VC-backed startups, like really, really good amount. And they're just coming into internship positions, and these companies are extremely fresh, like literally just funded in the last 3 years. Palantir CEOs, whatever. And these Palantir CEOs. There's many Alex Karps. There's not just one. And it's not a conspiracy, it's true. The way his eyes move, there's something about it. The point being that you have all these C-level suite Palantir, ex-Amazon, ex-anything, coming down and starting these startups, and you have all of your employees seated around a table, and the boss will literally just walk around the office, like the space, they're all on their MacBooks, and everyone's using Claude or GPT. Like, that's the work. Like, they expect you to use AI now. And it's like, yes, they're using all these tools at VC-backed startups, but what about SMBs? Like, nobody is specifically going to SMBs and establishing this sincere human connection and being like, hey, we need to catch you up. Like, now it's important. Like, yes, we know you have a site, but this is the next thing after the site. I know a lot of people have come to you with ads offers, and yes, ads were big, but this is the next step, because this is saving you money. This is putting in systems in place now, so when ad tools that are run by AI come about, you're ready to implement them and you know what to do. And we'll be there to make sure of that. You, as an AI agency, your job is to keep them ahead of the curve as much as possible. And they'll pay you to be this research center, this generative specialist. You're there to ensure that whatever new thing does come out, they know about it. And more importantly, you teach them how to use it and why it matters. You're essentially looking at a high scale consultancy job for various companies all at once. And I'm not even kidding. What you could do is get this offer over to companies and be like, hey, I'll be your forefront of AI development, and any new AI tool that I think it's relevant, every single week or every 2 weeks, every month, you'll get a full stack report of what I think employees should start doing. And I'll record full Loom videos on how they can do them. And they will become more efficient, and your competitors are going to wonder how the hell they didn't catch on, or how the hell this even happened. What must have gone down at partner A company that partner B has no clue how their level of output is this much? That's what you want to be. And I promise you, if you frame the AI offer as I am your competitive advantage, you're paying for the competitive advantage of having me there as a consultant, you'll bag it. Because people pay for sales consultants, people will pay for AI system consultation that helps and assists their sales consultants, because they want their salespeople to make as many sales as possible. So, however, you can minimize the amount of time in between calls or make their access to information as efficient and as up to date as they need to be in those calls, you win. Let's look at another thing. One service we're building, this has been our bestseller, is an AI system that works like Cluely. It's a sales assistant, and it works in the back end. And during meetings, it provides them with notes about that client. And if a client asks a very specific technical question that's specifically helpful for tech teams, then the salespeople who don't need to take the time to learn all this tech jargon anymore will just have access to all the answers that they need on the spot. And the answers sound like them. So the client can't tell that they're reading off, and the client is still getting the same amount of value from the sales aspect and from the technical answering of questions aspect, which means you don't need to bring in multiple people to handle one account. You can just have one person with this AI assistant on call handling that account single-handedly throughout every single meeting, and the memory of which is retained throughout the meetings. So you'll go from meeting A to meeting B, having all the information from meeting A, taking all the information from meeting B so you can prepare for meeting C. And then it's like, oh, John, you mentioned, yeah, how's your daughter doing? I heard she's in a CS major. Oh, no kidding, yeah, C sharp. That's an important one. You know, like, you can pull moves like that. You can make salespeople who are naturally charismatic come off as tech people. And I promise you, especially now in this Silicon Valley wave of hires, they're looking for tech people who can do sales, who can run sales, because most tech people are not that. So, ergo, they have a clear problem. We present a clear solution. We're like, hey, you guys are a software development company, but your sales team doesn't know the tech lingo, or your tech team doesn't know the sales lingo. We'll help them out. We'll put this solution in place. Let's run it. And that's it. Really is, it's that simple. And I mean, getting people to understand how to use these tools is the easy part. It's whether the company has interest in these tools that's the hard part to solve. And actually showing them how much of it will convert over to being an important factor in their business. You know, like, do I really need this? What is this 20-year-old trying to sell me? Do I need this? And I think 90% of the calls we take, we don't close. But it doesn't matter, because that 10% makes up for all of the 90% that we don't. Because the people that we do close are so happy to pay us, because they understand the value of it right now. And we have people that come back to us later and they're like, hey, Max, um, remember you brought that up? I would very much like to have another meeting about it. They come back later when they realize how important it is, when they see that this new wave is approaching, and people still don't. Like, AI agency people are still early. And you'll have a lot of people tell you right now that, oh, if you have a computer and a Wi-Fi connection, that's enough. No, it's not. You need to have technical like ability and understanding. You need more than just ChatGPT. You need tools on top of tools, and you need to be working 10 hours a day. And you got to stay at home most of the time. Like, I don't really leave the house. Like, I'll go out maybe once a week, spend a rack, and okay, that's actually quite often. Never mind. I'll go out maybe once every 3 weeks, maybe once a month. I don't go out once a week. Yeah, okay, I'll go out. It's hard to say. Sometimes there's a good reason, like a friend will come to town and you want to go out, so you got to go out. Like an old classmate you haven't seen. But yeah, you want to go out, spend your money, go back home and work. That's 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 it. Like you just work majority of the time, and you take calls on Sundays, and you take calls on Saturdays, and you don't take days off. Like you need to give attention to that business all of the time, and make sure that it's running all of the time. And as long as you're willing to do that, as long as you're willing to put in the work, as long as you're willing to pay for the tools, reinvest back into the business, you can go a really long way. And anybody who tells you there's like a surefire path to making it an AI automation, or oh, you should put out content. Content does not build trust for B2B. They want to meet you. They want to meet you in person. And then, okay, if you have content on the side, then it's great. Like, oh, wow, this person is followed by a lot of people. This is a trust signal. I believe him. But when it comes to B2B specifically, they want to see, well, what other businesses did you work with? And most content now is made about educating people that are not very aware of that business model. And I understand that. I'm also a part of that problem. I mean, it's not really a problem, it's just the way the market is. Like, major businessmen don't sit on YouTube and watch people explain AI to them. They go straight into using AI to research how to put AI into their business. And I can promise you that they'll do anything to stay ahead and retain their competitive advantage. So if you find killers, if you know killers, if you know brands you want to work with, geez, I mean, start with that. Like, reach out to Liquid Death. Do it. Who knows? Who knows what you might manage? And I mean, there's no guarantee that their department is very big, but I'm sure they're looking to scale outside of the US market. If you find a way to integrate AI to make that happen, and you just get the contact of one of their decision makers off of Apollo, make an email they can't say no to, send a LinkedIn invite they can't say no to, make the offer worth their while and just give. And then they'll give back. And whether you work with them or not, it won't matter, but you know you had the meeting with this major firm, this major company. I mean, we did with a major furniture company, the biggest furniture company in the world. um, yeah, I think that's probably the coolest accomplishment we had this year. Um, yeah. And that was pure luck. Like, that's purely just through a connection. Somebody we know. Somebody we know that we didn't know knows the CEO of that company. And you just have to put in the hours and you'll get lucky. Like, there's no secret sauce. There's no like one best way to scale. There really isn't. You got to put in the hours, you get lucky, and you have to reach out to people directly before you ever try to do organic marketing for something that B2C people don't want. Because B2B will find out about you through word of mouth. Still the very best. If you're the hardest worker in the room, I promise you that word hardest in a non sensual way will echo through every single room you go into. And you'll win. And it will feel unexpected. It might even feel undeserved. Many times it does for me. I always wonder if I'm worthy of how far I've come. But then when you see every hour that you put in throughout those days, even on the hard days, the bad days, and man, we've had many. We've come close to being bankrupt like once or twice now. And we made it out better than ever afterwards. Like after your worst month, you have your best month. Because that month, you do everything it takes to have your best month. And now we make $1,000 per day, like on scale. Yeah, $1,000 per day. And that's pretty great. Problem is, people are not smart. And people think they can do a smart thing that they found out about stupidly. But you can't. The only way you'll ever make it is if you try so very hard to learn about that smart thing for as long as humanly possible through every single line of making mistakes that you somehow still float at the end, even though you've put the ship on fire more times than you can count. And most of you, and I know this because I was the same way, you're afraid of failing, of fucking up. And you might say to yourself, no, I'm not. I'm brave. I can do this. It doesn't matter if you say that to yourself or not, because you still need to take the step, right? Like you can listen to David Goggins as much as you want, but you're not going to run a 12-mile every single day. Did you? You can listen to Alex Hormozy, watch his videos all the time. But did you sell 100 million books? 100 million worth of books? Probably not. And the truth is, your story will be unique, no matter how you choose to approach it following somebody else's concept. And the only thing I can do is to tell you what not to do, what to avoid doing, because I know it won't work for anyone, because I know this market, because I live, breathe, and swim in it every single day of my life. And I promise you that you're just going to have a better time breaking shit as you go along and figuring it out as you piece it back together. Yeah. Find someone you can trust. Don't go at it alone. Because no victory is worth nearly as much as it is with your team than when you win alone. Yeah. And don't forget to spend time with your parents. I'm considerably wealthier than I have ever been. Trust me, it's not the money that fixes the hollowness problem, it's the work. It's the commitment. It's not the watches. It's not the newest tech you buy once you make it. It's the American Express points. Disregard everything I said that was melancholic in any kind of way. You want those Amex points. You want that Revolut Ultra. You want that Platinum card. Yes, you do. Just be you. Like, damn. This will matter so much more than anything else in the next couple of years. Is for you to just be you. And make sure you feel smooth in who you are. Because then you'll be able to walk into any sales call and people will feel talked to, spoken to truly from your heart, from who you are, and not from some product you're trying to sell. Your mission comes before the product. Because if people can understand your mission and they believe it and you know it's true, they'll buy anything from you. Because you know what your goal is to accomplish. And if your goal is to have the greatest reputation as the #1 private equity or scaler of businesses on earth, they'll sense that ambition. Your mind comes first.